Well, hello everyone. Welcome to a brand new YouTube channel called Garage Guitars. Calling it that because I'm John and I'm in my garage. I'm not a professional luthier or anything like that. I don't even use that term for myself. I'm just a guy in his garage who loves to work on guitars, and maybe you're a guy or a girl in your garage and you like to do this too, or maybe you just want to be able to work on your own stuff and keep it up. And that's sort of where I got started. We're going to kick off with an unboxing. I know these are so exciting. I'm not going to tell you what's in here yet. We're going to get to that in a minute, but we're going to take it out and take a look at it. I actually started with guitars. I've always been a musician my entire life. Grew up singing and playing the trumpet and piano and all of that. But then when I was in high school, I got a job at a music store that sold guitars, repaired instruments, and I started getting into that stuff, started playing the guitar, and over the years now, since that happened, really developed a love for it. More so, I love playing, and I'm a passable guitar player. But I really love working on them and finding out stuff about guitars and digging in. I live in the Charlotte area right now, and it's racing country around here. And I always like to say that when it comes to a race, you need a great driver in order to win, but you also need a great mechanic, and it takes both. And so I am more of a mechanic than a driver, so you're probably not going to hear me play a lot on this channel, but we are going to dig into some really cool stuff and figure out how to fix it. And so what I'm going to do is just bring you along with me. And as things come into the garage and I work on them, I'm going to turn on the camera and we're going to work on them. And these aren't necessarily going to be like super fast videos. Some of them might be kind of long because we're going to do it more or less in real time. And I'll speed up the things that we can speed up. But otherwise, we're just going to actually repair some stuff, assess some stuff. And I'm pretty excited about it. So we're going to unbox this and assess it. And so I want to officially welcome you to our channel. Again, I'm John, and this is Garage Guitars. Okay, well, after that fancy intro, technology and everything, yeah, we're going to take a look at this guitar. And I also have to warn you, I'm a little bit of a storyteller on some of this stuff, and so, you know, we may talk about some stuff as we go that isn't guitar related, but we'll see. This is a guitar that I bought from Goodwill, okay? And I've seen it. I've seen pictures of it. I have never actually laid my hands on it. I get questions all the time from people who know that I do this kind of stuff. They say, you know, I've got this guitar, it's, you know, my uncle's, or it was passed down to me, or somebody bought it for me, and I just don't know if it's any good. I don't even know how to determine that. And it's not that hard. And really, I'm of the opinion that any guitar that is structurally sound can be great, whether it's expensive or cheap. And you need to manage your expectations. But this is a cheap guitar, but I am sure that as long as it's structurally sound, we can make it play really, really well. And then I'll pass it along and I'm going to sell it. Or who knows, it depends. Sometimes I give stuff away. So yeah, we're going to unbox this guitar, take a look at what it is, and I'm going to walk through the process of assessing the guitar so you know how to look at your guitar and say, is this any good, and what do I need to do? So, and I haven't really put any tools around me because I want you to kind of see the workflow as we do this too. I don't want this to be like a, you know, the cooking shows where they're like, oh, and then I need a pinch of saffron, and they have a little thing of saffron already sitting right there, you know? So I'll be moving around the shop, and if I need to fast forward something, I will. But ready to take a look at what we got? All right, so let's set it up here. And I've got a shot from above. I'll try to use whatever shot I can here. I guess we'll put it down and open it from the top. By the way, when you buy a used guitar, you never really know how it's going to be packaged. You know, I like when I ship a guitar to make sure it doesn't move around, but this one's moving around, but I hear a lot of, you know, packing material in there, so it does, I don't hear any hard hits, so hopefully it survived the trip. Get my knife out. Got a mini griptilian. This is a fine knife for, just use it kind of for utility. It's not what I carry every day, but a good knife. For those of you that are like EDC people, right? All right. Packing slip. Don't need that. Packing material. I save all of this, by the way. Comes in handy when I ship guitars. I have like leaf bags full of bubble wrap. Other things like that. All right. Here we go. And timber. Save your boxes. All right. They come in handy. Let's lay this thing down. From the top, can you tell? You see a sunburst coming through there? Yep. All right. Again, most people would rip into this, I know, but I'm a little frugal and I don't like to spend money on packing materials if I don't have to. It's starting to get revealed. Sorry, I might fast forward this. Okay. I think we're gonna kind of be able to reveal this now. You ready? Let's look. Let me put that in the middle. Good. All right, there it is. You see it from the top? Strat style guitar, right? I haven't done the headstock yet. It's got the wiggle stick. Look at that. What do you know? They don't always have that. I didn't know that was coming with that. Okay. We'll spin that out of there and set it to the side. Okay, you ready? You ready to see what's under here? Let me pull this from the front. We'll get a better angle on this. What is it? What is it? Is it a Sir? Is it a Fender? Is it a PRS? No. It's a Starcaster. I didn't mean to say that in a disappointing way, but Starcaster is a budget line of instrument. But that's kind of the point here. So what I want to do is unbox this. We're going to go through this head to toe. I'll tell you what I'm looking for. And then we will determine what we need to do in order to make this a really good guitar. And it can be, by the way. Presumably we don't find anything that is unfixable, which happens from time to time, but I don't have a lot in this guitar. And so, ready? Let's dig in. All right, throw this to the side. Now, first thing I'm gonna do with a guitar like this is just give it a quick overall visual inspection, okay? And I'm just looking for anything super obvious that's gonna be a problem. Looking at the top, the pickups are there, all of the saddles are there on the bridge, the output jack is there, we've got all the knobs. Of course, I looked for this in the pictures. I actually see plastic here, so I'm wondering if there's still plastic on this entire pickguard. It's possible. Body doesn't have any huge dings or dents or breaks or cracks. Frets are in place. It looks like we do have a little bit of damage on the nut. That's easy enough to replace. And on the back, we've got stickers and things like that, but no breaks, cracks. Everything on quick visual inspection looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I just find it's easiest to start at the top of the guitar and work your way down. So I'm going to start at the top on the front, and everything looks good here. In fact, it looks like it's in great shape. We've got all the rings, the ferrules that go around the tuning posts. Sometimes those are little nuts. Everything looks good there. There's a little bit of tarnish on the tuners, but nothing we can't try to clean up. Flipping over to the back, same thing. Everything looks good. We've got the Serial number there. This one was made in China. It's a CWS model. Looks like probably a 2010. Guessing. Usually the first two numbers on a serial number on a guitar like this are the year of manufacture. Everything's in place. We've got all the screws. We've got all the covers. Everything looks good there at the headstock. Flip it back over to the front. String trees are here and in place. String trees are a whole thing. That'll be a topic of conversation one day. But this looks really, really good. I'm going to start working my way down the neck now. As I said, the nut, it looks like it's almost a chip, but it looks like maybe it got squashed or something. This is a plastic nut. We'll replace that. I'll get one off of Reverb or something. It'd be cheap, $5-6, something like that. To replace this, I'll just have to measure the nut width. And I'll use my calipers to do that. But measure the nut width, make sure you get the right one. All right, so I'm going to work my way down the fretboard as I look. The frets are tarnished, but they are not worn. This does not look like a guitar that was actually played very much. You can kind of tell by the wear on the frets. It looks like it probably just sat maybe in someone's bedroom or something. So working our way down, there's no real fret wear here. Strings are bad, but you know, nothing too bad. Hey, buddy. All right, my son just came out here. This is the nature of doing stuff in your garage. Like, it can't be all quiet on set all the time. All right, so we may have distractions. The dog may come in here. The kids may come in here. I got 3 kids. And my wife be mortified if she interrupted one of these. But, okay, we're working our way down. Again, frets all look good. They all look well seated and in place. I can already tell you the guitar has high action. That's the height of the strings off, which is probably why this guitar sat and nobody played it. That's just a setup issue, which is such a shame. If this guitar had been set up better, maybe it would have been played. And my wife just came home, so we're going to take another quick break. All right, sorry, I had to close the garage doors. You know, my wife and daughter just came home from shoe shopping, and so I'd asked about that. And then somebody pulled into the neighborhood, and they're doing some work at the house next door, and this is the nature of living in a neighborhood, isn't it? So you hear a little drone in the background. That's some sort of machine running. But as I was saying, the action on this guitar is a little bit high, and so that might be why it sat and nobody used it. It's no good when you have to try and push those strings down so far. Not only that, but then it pulls the strings out of tune, and then you end up with tuning stability issues, which is why a good setup is so important. But I believe we can fix that. So the next thing I'm going to do is sight the neck, and that is to look from one end down to the other and look for relief. Okay, and relief is the bend or bow of the neck, and you want a little bit, but not much. This has quite a bit in it, not a lot, but I've seen more, but a good bit. So I think a nice tightening on the truss rod is going to straighten that out a little bit, bring the action down a little bit, make this much more playable. We don't know yet whether the truss rod works. That's going to be a question mark. But before we are done with assessing this guitar, I am going to pop the strings off of it, and we'll check that out. Next thing I do is check the fret ends. So I take my fingers and just run them down the side of the neck, and I'm feeling for where the frets are sticking out. It's called fret sprout, which is a little bit of a misnomer because the frets don't sprout. The wood shrinks and exposes the fret ends. And if there's fret sprout, it can be uncomfortable. If there's enough of it, it can be painful, and it could even cut you. So this does have fret sprout. Not bad, but I can see the fret ends are a little rough. We'll clean all that up. We'll be part of the fixing on this guitar, and this will feel and play great. Again, maybe a reason the person who played it didn't play it much. So then I'm going to turn and look at the back of the neck, and I can see here that it's pretty good. There are a few like light impressions or indentions here on the neck, and that is most likely because the person didn't play it. This thing was sitting up against a box, a windowsill, something at about that height, and sorry, friends coming over. This place is a bustle of activity. That's just what our house is. So that's the deal. We're gonna do those little transitions. I'll spare you all those little interruptions, and this was probably sitting against something like that and then getting bumped and moved around or whatever. That's what it looks like. They're all kind of at the same height. Maybe sitting against an amp or something. But other than that, the neck all looks good, okay? And I think everything there is fixable and we can make that great. which clears up. This is where really the neck, if you have a big problem here, a twist, a truss rod doesn't work, whatever else, a break, that's where you get your real problems. Everything else is very easily fixable on a guitar like this. So as we move down, now I'm going to look at the neck pocket, where the neck meets the body, and particularly I'm looking on these corners here where it meets for cracks or other things. Now, this guitar does have small cracks, and this is very common. It's going to be hard to see. I don't know if you can see it from above. Small cracks right in the corners. Very common on a Strat or a Telecaster or basically a bolt-on style neck guitar. And that typically happens when the neck gets pulled this way or that way, and stress cracks happen. And now this can be one of two things. It can either be just a finish crack, a stress crack, where you get basically the wood moves, but the finish doesn't go with it, and so it cracks. Or these can be structural cracks, but either way, they're not that big a deal. As long as the neck is still bolted firmly into the body and it's clean all the way down through here, you're generally okay. But of course, if they're structural, you want to take care of that. Even though it's not a huge deal, you still want to take care of it. But it looks to me like these are just finish cracks. I've seen enough of these to know the difference at this point, and that looks like a finish crack. So no big deal there. When we do go to resell this, of course, we'll take pictures of that and disclose it. You always want to handle yourself ethically. All right, so now let's keep looking. I'm going to lay this down. We're going to keep looking down the body, and I'm just going to look at the body itself. And I don't see any major cracks, dings, dents, little stuff, normal stuff. There's usually some scratching down here along the body. There's some tarnish on the sort of trim piece for the output jack. And I'll see if I can get that cleaned up, and if not, we'll replace it. Like I said, knobs are all here. The plastic's still on this thing, I'm pretty sure. So we'll pull that off. That'll be nice and clean. I wonder if it's still in the pickups too. I don't know. But pickups look okay. Everything's in place. Angles, distances, they're staggered pole pieces. Looking at the bridge, all of our saddles are in place. It's actually got a radius on it. Not quite the right one, but it's got a radius on it, so somebody paid some attention to that. It's in place. Let me drop the wiggle stick in. Tremolo arm, whammy bar, whatever you want to call it. It moves. So, yeah, everything's good there. All the screws are in place. That's good. We've got both of our strap pins are there. Still looking all the way around. Look at the edges, small dings, normal stuff. All the way around, all good. And on the back, the cover plate on the back, let me try to get this in frame. Somebody's written on it in Sharpie, actually pretty easy to take off. So we'll do that. It's got this little thing. I always used to think that this little sticker here that gets put on Strats and other things, I used to think it was like a shop vac, and I was like, what? Don't shop vac? I don't understand what's going on there. That's not what it is. It's a trash can, I guess. So it's supposed to be like, don't throw this thing in the trash, but recycle it or do whatever properly. So we're not going to do that anyway, because this guitar isn't trash. Got a sticker. That's easy enough to take off. I've got stuff for that. We'll do that. It does look like this is a pretty significant scratch right here that probably goes all the way through the finish. Like somebody's, I don't know what they scratched that with, sorry. But I'll end up leaving that. I'm not going to try and take that out because I'm not taking this thing all the way down and refinishing it. So the last thing I want to do is I want to look inside the tremolo cavity as far as sort of the external stuff, or I guess we're getting into the internal. I love this little screwdriver. Got to have the little mini screwdriver sets. Find a good one. I actually found a really great one that I use. It's up with my soldering stuff in my office because I like to solder inside. But I'll put a link to that. That was on Amazon, and it's really great. Got tons of different tips on it. Anyway, so I'll put a link to that. And If I put a link, it might very well be an affiliate link. Just know that. I'll try to disclose that every time, but it doesn't cost you any more, but it'll help me out, and maybe I can do some more cool stuff on the channel. Like any money that comes from this channel and advertising or whatever, I plan to just pour it back into the channel to buy stuff or, you know, whatever. So tools, things like that we need, or camera equipment, try and improve stuff. I'm not doing this to make money. So let's go ahead and pull this off. Now, I like to give little tips. So here's the tip. We're going to give a tip right out of the gate. All right, hold on a second. Now, always, what do you do with all your parts, right? What do you do with all the screws and things that come off of a guitar? Well, they give you these things. It's great. You buy deli meat at the store in these containers. That's why I buy the kind that comes in these containers, because you get free Tupperware with your deli meat. So I have tons of these out in the shop, and I keep parts. I've got parts here. There's parts from the Telecaster I'm working on over there. So I just do that, and then I've got the lids for them. I put the lid on, piece of painter's tape, write what guitar it is. There you go. You're keeping all your stuff organized. Tremolo cover itself, we'll just clean it up. Looks fine, stable. Looking at the cavity, let's take a look over here. It looks really good. It's clean, everything's in place. Springs look good, oriented well. This is actually one of the cleaner tremolo cavities I've ever seen. Usually it's got a little bit of this dust in here, but usually it's got a ton of that. Great, that's awesome. Looks like somebody misplaced a screw at some point, but that kind of stuff happens. All right, everything looks good. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna test the electronics. And I've got a cheap old Fender amp out here, and it makes a bunch of noise, so I'm not worried about noise or anything like that. But I just want to check to see if the strings, or if the pickups work. Oh, it's not even close. That doesn't sound good at all. But let me just get it close so at least we can test it. It's not good, but it's close enough for testing purposes, and it's low. That's not tuned up high enough. But, all right, so let's get this thing plugged in. If you hang on 1 second, I'll get my cable, get it set up. First thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna put it on the neck pickup, and I'm just gonna hit a chord and roll the volume up. Not bad. There were no scratches, and that's one of the things I'm listening for, is scratches when you're turning the pot. Usually that means the pot's just dirty or corroded. So that's a neck pickup, and it sounds pretty good. We're in position 5. Or 1. I don't know how to count them. I think it's 5. All right, cool. Now I'm gonna check the tone. So that's the next knob down. And again, I'm just gonna roll it back and forth. I don't know if you can hear that scratch. Sometimes if you just work it a little bit, it'll go away too. But it works. You hear the tone change? Good. Go to the middle pickup. Check the tone. Something going on with that. I'm just going to wiggle the... Okay. So this is set up for the bottom. The bottom tone knob is controlling the middle pickup. We'll have to see if it controls the bridge too. It's going to be wired differently. It's got a lot of scratch in it. So we'll clean the pot. Easy to do, cheap to do. And I'm noticing that knob is a little chewed up. I don't know how in the world that happened. Someone might have been trying to take that knob off with some pliers or something. Chewed it up. But it works. Okay, and now we'll go to the bridge. No tone control on the bridge. So this tone, top tone controls the neck pickup, bottom tone controls the middle pickup, no tone control on the bridge, which is so dumb, I don't understand it. That's where you need it. It's so bright. Okay, but they all work. We'll go to position 4. Okay, and 2. Position 2 should be, and you can tap on the pickups, by the way, in case you're wondering. Let me lay this down and look at it from above. You take something metal and tap the pickup. Okay, neck is not on. Middle is, you hear that? Bridge is. So this should just be the bridge. Middle. These two together. And just the neck. So switch is good. There's no cracking or anything in the switch. It actually, I'm sure this is a cheap switch, but it feels pretty good. So everything works. All we got to do is clean up the pots and make sure, just check all the solders, and I think everything's going to be good to go there. So let's do this. Next step, going to get this thing unplugged, take the strings off, and we'll open it up and take a look at the inside. And I'll speed that up for you. I guess I gotta jump in here and say, it's one of the most satisfying sounds in the world. Okay. Just love it so much. I will throw this in there, by the way. I've been asked, why do you cut your strings? Why not just fold them over? And the answer is, because it goes in the trash can more easily. Fold those things up and they just become like springs, and anyway, I find it's easier just to take them off. So, all right, let's put this in here, and I don't really need the neck rest for this. Keep everything organized. All right, so let's pop this off and take a look at what we're dealing with underneath. Ready for the big reveal? We're going to open it up and take a look at what's inside. Here we go. Short leads. Here we go. That's how we do it. Well, exactly what we'd expect to find in here. Dime-sized pots, cheap capacitors, and actually they've got these two tied together. That's interesting. And cheap switch with these PCB board, the plastic kind of deal, but it still felt pretty good. Pickups with what looked like probably ceramic magnets just on the bottom of the pole pieces. So inexpensive construction, exactly what you would expect. So no surprises in here. So I guess what it boils down to, here's what we're going to do on this guitar, and we'll make this a separate video. This is just going to be the assessment, but we are going to clean out these pots. We are going to get all of the guitar cleaned up and conditioned pretty well. We're going to maybe replace the output jack plate on this. We're going to check the truss rod to see if it responds. And then we're going to do a fret polish, so we'll talk about that in another video just to get those cleaned up. We'll fix the fret ends and get them feeling really nice. And then once everything is cleaned up, we'll restring it and we'll do a setup on it. And so all of that will happen in our next video. So I hope this has been helpful for just what to check for, what to look for on a guitar like this. Now you have a different guitar, there may be different things you need to look at, but it gives you the basics of what to be checking for. All right, and so we're going to take this guitar, which is pretty rough right now, which I understand why someone didn't want to play, and we're going to make it as good as it can possibly be, which I think is going to be pretty good. And then we'll pass it on to whoever's next to have it. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, we're going to replace this nut too. Forgot to mention that. So I'll get that, and we'll be back to do the rest of this guitar once that nut is in, and we're ready to go. All right, thanks for joining us today. Looking forward to more and more videos like this. My name is John, and this is Garage Guitars.